just got up, ate your cereal? Nah. Still. I am low-key hoping we actually get to 25,000 a day. I don't think that's going to happen. I think we're going to get like 24,000 and some change. But we'll see. We are starting to push into a new area, so we're going to get tons of zombies to fight. And it has been a while since we've just gotten to like flat-out fight zombies. Because it would be nice to like wrap up today going, we've killed 25,000 zombies. We're a quarter of the way to 100,000. Alright, so we got a bunch of random zombies that are out here. Not surprising if there was a migration. Bonk. Quit walking away from me. I'm like yelling at you back here. I can joke and say I have 2,370 or 23,756 kills, but you probably remember that I started playing this the other day. I mean, we can pretend. Thank you for that. I forget it often. I try to remember it, but then I get to like the thought process of like, okay, what am I doing next here? What do I need to worry about? Blah, blah, blah. And then I forget about it. You got a Culver's commercial? Interesting. So it sounds like, well, then I have 23,770 kills. Culver's. I mean, sure. I can see advertising Culver's. Culver's fast food is what they're called. If I'm thinking the correct Culver's. I still think one of the more interesting sponsors I've seen recently show up on Twitch. Not for me, I haven't been sponsored yet. But some of the streams I had been watching that were sponsored, they were being sponsored by TurboTax. I'm like, you know what? That's fair. For all the people who stream, taxes be complicated, because when you are your own, like, independent person, all that kind of stuff, taxes are way different. So the advertisements that we're getting, like, I actually have no idea what ads are getting shown on my channel. Like, it's not something I get a say in. Like, I don't think I get any say in it at all. I remember with, I think it was YouTube, they like, what are some of the stuff about your channel so I could try and guess what to put on there, advertising-wise, but who knows how much it actually considers that. But I don't recall anything of that nature in Twitch. That's just like, look, you're going to get ads. We're going to decide what's there. And the only choice I get is I can manually trigger an ad, and if I manually trigger enough ads in a duration of time, then it won't do ads outside those ones I manually trigger. But then if I don't manually trigger them, then it will just automatically do them. And it's something I get no say in. And I believe the only way to get around it is to be either subscribed to the channel, so each individual channel you're subscribed to, I don't believe you get ads for. I think Twitch goes by your local IP address. Oh, for like what ads? It's probably not that sophisticated, if I'm being honest. Alright, Moon. You sleep well and all that. And thank you. What more than likely happens is when you look at your IP address, there's 4 sections to it. And with that information, like the first 2 or 3, you can usually narrow a person down to like what city they're in, that kind of thing. It's not foolproof, but it's kind of good enough. It's probably that's all they're considering. May not even be that sophisticated. I mean, it could also be multi-target, where some of them, they just check what country you put yourself in as. Others, the IP address. Because that's probably something they negotiate and argue with whomever they're advertising for. Because companies' demands on advertising is real weird. From having to have dealt with that before. Didn't work for a company who had who was holding up advertising. No, actually I have. But who was dealing with the negotiations there. Yeah, it probably gets much more complicated than you'd expect. One of the really interesting things that happens that we didn't know about until, engineers who have left various companies have talked about it. Like, there was a whole thing about, people were believing that their phones were listening into their conversations and then, providing them ads based on that conversation. And so people are all getting paranoid, trying to find legitimate, provable evidence of this phenomena happening, other than, anecdotally you talk about something and then 15, 20 minutes later, your phone advertises it to you and you're going, hold up a second. But what we found out is actually happening was if, say, for example, I looked up something. So I look up, we'll say Culver's. So I look up Culver's, and there's some news article I read about it, and then I meet with someone. And they detect that our phones were together for 20, 30 minutes, somewhere in that time frame. There's a good chance they go, you know what? Those two were probably eating lunch or dinner or something together, hanging out, going to the gym, whatever. These two were hanging out. There's a good chance that because this one person looked up a bunch of stuff before they met up, they probably talked about it. So I'm going to go to the other person, and I'm going to advertise that thing to them. So it wasn't nearly as sneaky or as invasive as, hot mic kind of thing, but it still is kind of sneaky and invasive. And it's not foolproof, because obviously I could look up something and it's just the person I'm meeting with is not a topic we would discuss or whatever. But they take that gamble and they're like, it works out enough that it's worth taking the gamble of just saying, hey, let's just randomly solicit this product they may have just discussed with their friend. Well, it's not, so the implication about listening that people have is that they're literally they keep your mic on and they listen into you while it's going on. And the problem is that would run afoul of a number of laws. But what they do is they're they'll check what you're searching for and all that, and then they have just gotten sophisticated ways of trying to figure out who are the people you talk to, who are your friends, who are you around, who are you likely to discuss this with, and try and time it to drop an ad on that person when you would have just discussed it. And even if it's wrong 9 out of 10 times, being right 10% of the time in that case means sales in a lot of cases. So it's worth them to do it. Because like almost all advertising, you get hundreds of thousands of impressions and only, you know, so many, so many going. Now granted, like, the reading your email kind of stuff, yeah, they absolutely do that. They absolutely go through your email, pick out keywords, suggestions, come up with what, advertisements they believe are related or that you are the target demographic or whatever. It's just not the hot mic thing. Like, don't get me wrong, if you're using like a voice assistant, it's always got the mic on and all that, but yeah. Yep, that's what I was going to just say is, it's not that it's never happened, but you run afoul of wiretapping laws, and as a major company, that gets you in a lot of trouble. There's a lot of stuff companies can get away with, but when it's like, there's a strict written federal law about what you can and cannot do with certain technology, and you do it anyways, you're not going to get a little slap on the wrist. It's going to be a pretty nasty fine. And then you also know Uncle Sam's going to be watching to see if you do it again. Different means of preventing ads from getting through work. I won't go into that on a platform based on advertising for various, various reasons. But you get it. There are solutions. They're not flawless. Let's be clear. They're not flawless. But they will get through a lot of stuff. Like, for example, with the way technology works with YouTube, kind of putting the ad in the actual video stream, that can't be done, that I'm aware of. I couldn't answer that. My assumption, so usually the way these advertising things work is they have JavaScript that runs in the background. The JavaScript says, okay, it's time to present an ad. So they put the ad out there, and there'll be something like within the video of the ad or the image of the ad when it goes to pull it up, there'll be what's, for like an image, there'll be a tracking pixel where basically inside the image there's a separate image. So that way if you're blocking the whole thing, that shouldn't come through. And so they watch to see if that shows up. And if that does show up, that means you've seen their ad in theory. You are an impression. At which point, then they would count it. There are a lot of them. If that, if that pixel isn't gotten, that the advertisement is seen as just not getting through or whatever. Now, that's only some. Not everyone does it. Some websites, they just put up the ad and they just assume you get it. And if you do, great. If you don't, great. They've served it. They've done their part. Others will do all like the super ridiculous, over-the-top tracking and everything to try and verify exactly how many people actually did see their advertisement, how many were blocked by various ad blockers or whatever. Like, if a domain is blocked for other reasons, like just trying to establish that they served the ad but it didn't get through for some reason. Yeah, I have absolutely no idea. I know I do get ad revenue. It's nothing amazing. Like, to be fully transparent, the primary money that has come through on this channel is subs, whether they're gifter or not. And then the next one would be donations. Like bit donations, I should say. Cheers. Like, ads is barely a drop of water. Like, just flat out cash in the pocket kind of donations, like someone sending in PayPal. Again, fully appreciate it. It's a very, very small amount, and to be clear, none of this is a significant amount. Like, this, my Twitch channel is not a survivable amount of money in any imagination. But I think if you go in expecting to live off of your streaming, that's a mistake, unless you just go, oh, this has worked out. This is now a viable option. But yeah. Okay, does it somehow... Let's see. For ads to work, you need 1K viewers watching. No, I mean... Oh, you're saying for ads to work so far as to make enough money to be worth mentioning? I would probably agree to that. Because, like, I'm averaging somewhere in the area of about 50 viewers. Like, my streams start out with a small number of viewers. Usually as the night goes on, they build up. Not counting raids and any of that. That just, you know, that can be all over the place. But then usually around, like, 3 a.m. my time is usually when it kind of, we hit peak. Which makes sense, because, you know, that's around the point that people in the US are starting to wind down. It's still pretty early for people in the European Union to really start getting up to that. Oh yeah, no, I agree 100%. Like, from what I understand, people who are actually making a living on Twitch... And actually, one thing I should preface. When you saw that leaked information, which I won't go into details about the leak or anything like that, because I don't think I'm supposed to, but that's the monetization through Twitch. A lot of people make their money... I am not Canadian. I am in the US, Florida. But a lot of people on Twitch make a lot of money through brand deals and stuff like that, which Twitch would not have information on. So it is one of the things you gotta take as a caveat with that, is a lot of the different sponsorships and all that won't be included in those numbers you saw presented on the Twitch information. Now, that said, it is a very small subset of people who do make enough money on Twitch to be livable. I am near the factory. We have cleared the factory, and when, you know, it's cleared for this, which means migrations and that will happen. We'll have to spin back and clear it again later, but it'll be, you know, far fewer zombies. But we're, like, that's the factory down there. We're pushing towards Riverside itself. Yeah. Oh yeah, when you look at something like, some of the brand deals are ridiculous. And, like, to be clear, like, I have myself signed up with, there's different groups that help say, okay, here's some indie game that's coming out. They're looking for people willing to stream their game. Usually they'll have, like, here's the talking points of the game. And, like, I wouldn't have a problem doing that, so long as it's a game I would one, think fits the channel. I would, you know, of course, be absolutely transparent saying, hey, like, they'd be paying me. It would not be any type of microtransaction, like, it wouldn't be a gacha game or any of that crap. Like, I simply won't, I refuse. Like, I actively find those games harmful to people, especially those people who have gambling problems. So I would absolutely not sponsor a game like that. But let's just pretend for a moment a new Factorio comes out, Factorio 2, and people hear me talk positively about Factorio and say, hey, we would love to see you stream Factorio 2. Okay, sure. I would stream that. I would take a sponsorship. I mean, I'm going to play it anyways. If someone wants to pay me to do it, sure, why not? I also like finding games that are niche and all over the place, and that's a good way to find them. Like, I was so bummed. There was a game coming out for a long time that the gimmick was, it was like Factorio, that you're building a factory, but it was on, like, this sand crawler thing. So it was about, like, upgrading the sand crawlers. Well, I'm like, okay, this sounds cool, and they got into talking about all the mechanics. Like, this sounds awesome. And it ended up being just some, like, microtransaction cesspool. I was like, I am beyond disappointed. I never did download it or play it or anything. Like, the moment they talked about buying, you know, buying their points or whatever, I'm like, all right, I am all of the out. The moment that, like, you know, the monetization is that kind of thing. No. Yep. Oh yeah, but like I have no objections. Like, or for example, let's say there's some new roguelike, no one's ever heard of it, and they're saying, look, we're getting ready to release our first version, we want some streamers to stream it, and then because I'm signed up with this thing, they're like, hey, how would you like to stream the game? I'll be like, sure. My rules are, one, I reserve the right to, be honest on my opinion about the game. It doesn't mean I'm going to be mean and nasty if I don't like the game. It'll just be like, oh, like this wasn't my favorite, Here are the things I found concerning about the game. Whatever. Yeah, no, and to be clear, I haven't had a single sponsored game on my channel. Usually you don't get that kind of stuff unless either A, for whatever reason, your audience is a very specific target audience, or B, you're large enough that's like, it's worth putting them on there. But so far, I haven't had any of that. You are in Muldrow and you want some bite resistance clothes. One thing I would suggest is if you're looking for bite resistance clothes, it's a good idea to get some tailoring, even if you don't get all the way up to 10. Get a little tailoring, because tailoring is the best way to get bite and scratch resistant clothes, because you can take literally any repairable garment and just slap patches all over it, and suddenly you can have bite and scratch resistance. At level 10 tailoring, that's 20% scratch resistance per section per outfit, and 10% bite resistance, which means you can stack it up so scratch resistance, there's only like 4 or 5 sections of your body that aren't 100% scratch resistance when you layer. And then bite, you get to somewhere in the area of like 60 or 70% on almost sections, with a good like 6 or 7 or 8 sections that are 100%. Oh yeah, yeah. So you just literally all you do to get thread is you just walk over to bodies and you hit rip clothing all. What I like to do is find places, like if I'm going on my way to tailor, that's fine. I'll just rip up whatever stuff I see. But if I get the chance or I kill a bunch of zombies in like one pile, I will take the time to stop at that pile and rip the clothes. I haven't done it in a while because we don't have the tailoring book, so I haven't been putting effort into it. I think you only need scissors to rip the rip leather and denim. I'm pretty sure you still get XP if you don't have scissors. You get XP from tailoring anytime you get thread. Getting just the fabric won't give you XP for ripping. And then as you gain points in tailoring, you'll get thread more frequently when you rip clothes. So at the beginning, you get very negligible amounts from ripping stuff, which is fine. And then you just like spam put on and take off the patches. Oh yeah, you can get tailoring up real fast if you get like the books and you focus on it. It happens. I've had a lot of people ask me about tailoring because they'll watch me like working on tailoring, like, why are you working on tailoring? It's like, because it is overpowered. Like, the name of the game in Project Zomboid a lot of time is doing what you can to mitigate risk. Like, you can never eliminate risk, but to mitigate it. Making decisions that, if you're taking risk, you're doing what you can to keep it under control, all that kind of stuff. There's no rush. It's very methodical. So tailoring is one of those things that you can just directly roll the dice, mitigate risk. Like, you can say, there is a 60% chance I just don't get bitten if something hits me here. That is a huge risk mitigation factor. Yeah, I don't know. I'm trying to think in the 90s how common leather pants were. I know they were Like, you could definitely find them. That was certainly a thing. I don't think... And we also have to... I don't know about Kentucky. Maybe Kentucky is like leather pants are just right out. I have no idea. I can't think of ever finding leather pants either. That said, I haven't exactly been watchful for them. I don't think... So, maybe historically cowboys wore leather pants. I was under the impression that most cowboys wore chaps, which were like leather coverings for pants. Bikers, same way. A lot of bikers wear chaps. Same exact idea. They're not like full-on leather pants, but they're like parts of the legs are covered and all that. Like, among the bikers that I've been around, because I used to ride a lot myself, I would say denim was the most popular. Like, just jeans, that kind of thing for pants. But then a lot of them would... I mean, down here, because it's so freaking hot. But a lot of them who did wear any type of leather was they were wearing chaps on top of them. But that's not particularly common here in Florida because it gets to be like 90-something degrees, and the last thing you want to really do is wear a bunch of layers. Yep. Chaps with no butt. No, I'm originally from just a little bit outside of Detroit. Moved down to Florida when I was like just on the edge of tween, almost teen. Why am I using my knife when I'm at full stamina? What am I doing? Where did all these zombies come from? Why is this a thing? I mean, actually, to be honest, like, the distracting streamer, while yes, certainly partly true, I also think it was last night's stream of RimWorld went unreasonably later than I should have gone. So I'm not in, like, zombie mode myself where I'm getting super sleepy, but this is definitely the moment where you can kind of get yourself into a rhythm, and you're just kind of running on autopilot. Hey, good morning. How's it going? Well, the zombies are falling down. And they're making a very satisfying squash noise every time I hit them with the crowbar. The squash noise of victory. Now I'm out of stamina, so now the dagger comes out. Well, hunting knife. And I'll catch up with chat in a minute. Okay. Let's see. Galatoni says, I have not been sleeping, trying to build my stamina back up after Rona and went for a long walk. Only match for me. I'm sorry to hear that. I really do hope you you have yourself a good, proper, and full recovery and all that. Like, I know a lot of people have had to deal with long-term symptoms. And the Greater Danish says, "Hey, Roll, back from being off for a bit. Gotta help my brother create his first D&D character." Ooh, always a good time. I only got to play D&D, like proper sit-down D&D, a couple times. Only time I did, the DM I had was not good. Let's be real. So I never really got into D&D myself, but I know a number of people who have an absolutely fantastic time with it. And I certainly love so many things that have spun off of D&D as well. Now that said, and I have admitted to this before, so I have a very, very young niece. I shouldn't say very young. A young niece who is very much into My Little Pony. She can, like, I still don't even know the characters, but she is very into it. And so my brother has encouraged my niece to play, it is D&D, but it's My Little Pony. And of course, being an uncle, and being unable to say no to this adorable child, I've been roped into it. And it's actually kind of fun, but yeah, it is very much like, And that game, 100% not made for little kids. Like, you look at the rules and you're like, no, this is clearly adults who made this. It's actually pretty fun, but yeah. Yeah, would I do it on my own if the niece weren't around? Absolutely not. You couldn't pay me. But, you know, when she's into it, it's a lot of fun. But she has a million times too much energy. So there are times that she's like really into it and playing and we're all having a good time. And then there's times she plays for like 5 minutes and then she's going in 30 different directions. Like, so do we still play now or do we just forget about it? 'Cause I'm down to forget about it. Yep, no, that's all good. Like, and I should be clear, if anyone is actually into the My Little Pony D&D, it doesn't actually, like, it's not even that bad. Like, it's not as complicated as legitimate D&D or anything. Like, I can say that from what I have played. But, like, if someone's looking for a little bit more casual thing, sure. I mean, I actually don't have a problem with doing stuff that's like I'm not someone who is so, like, my masculinity is so fragile that's like, look man, can't play with the doll with my niece because manly. Now I'll get down there and we'll have some tea. We're going to throw down some freaking tea. Some little plastic adorable pink, looks like it's some type of like ivory porcelain thing, but it's just plastic tea. With various stuffed animals that are covered in glitter, and I know at the end result, I too shall be covered with glitter. And my only regret about the entire thing is, no, like, legitimately glitter is hard to get out of everything. Like, once you get glitter, you live glitter. That's just how it works. Like, you can wash it a million times and you will rediscover that glitter on different parts of the same garment. That was, my wife has this baseball hat, and it's a Star Wars baseball hat that's got like old school, like 70s lettering and all that, 70s, 80s lettering. But it's like a very girly one that's like got pink and yellows, and it's got the whole brim is glitter. It's like, this is like, I legitimately look at that, it's like, that's a nice hat. Like, it's not one I would wear. It's like, that's a cool hat. But that glitter, I'm like, no, you keep that thing away from me. You keep that glitter disaster away from me. I don't believe Louisville is going to be a starting location, at least not by default. There's plenty of mods that let you start there. But they already have a number of places that are popular that you just can't spawn in. Like, there's entire cities you just can't spawn in that have been in the game forever. Makes your Hoover bag absolutely fabulous. You right. And we're just waiting. That way we can, you know... I have a crowbar. You know what? We're not waiting. 1 second. I mean, we are, but we're waiting and doing something productive. Because I'm sitting there, it's like, I have a crowbar. You know what we also have? A bunch of not open things. Alright, this zombie has been waking us up. I keep saying I'm not going to do this because it's dangerous to do this. But it has to stop. We'll work together, zombie. You hit, I hit. We can do this. And you notice I'm backing up every time I swing. That way if it breaks, I get away from this damn thing. Should go anytime now. Look, zombie, you have done no damage to this thing over all this time. I like how it's like jump scare. We've only been listening to that zombie beat on that door for like a solid month. And they're like, haha, zombie. You never saw that coming, right? Yeah, I've debated for a while turning the jump scare sound down for stream. Because I know a lot of people chill and the jump scare sound is very not chill. But at the same time, I also go, but that's content for people? So that's one of those ones I'm like, I don't know. Oh, did we not top off our water last time? I've got a spare bottle, so it's not that big a deal, but